Alright, so pwede lang. Depende kung anong gamitin na, alright, what particular type of data will you gather, whether you will get the exact age in years or you're going to specify, all right, teenage mothers, or you group them according to ages. So it all depends on how you gather later your data. So when you talk about your specific objective, number one, what's the profile of mothers in terms of demographic? And you'll say age. And definitely, I said it, okay, it all depends on your questionnaire later, whether you will get the age in terms of continuous data, all right, which is uh, 20 years and 4 months, something like that. So that's continuous data. Or you can come up with discrete, or you can have a group or groupings of their age, not teenage mothers, and then to 20 to 20, 24 or 34, and then 35 to 49, you can group them. No? So in this case, again, the way you analyze, all right, is dependent on how you have gathered your data, or what type of data will you get. So in this case, yun sana ang gusto kong makita, yung cross-section. So in terms of age, paano mo analyze yung age level ng demographic profile nila? Right, will you be getting the mean age, or will you be only getting the frequency, all right, of their ages as group or whatever, no? It all depends, no? And then definitely your marital status is quali, no? It's a quali data, therefore you just use percentage here. Educational attainment, again, it's quali again, percentages, and so on. All right, and then the next, all right, even here in your socioeconomic and everything. So again, if it is a quali data, you can just come up with frequencies, no? And so when you will make an association of all this to your dependent variable, then all you have is chi-square. Okay, so you make use of chi-square in the event that you're going to associate it. But, alright, it all depends again, kapag sinabi mo sa age naman, ginamit mo is enumeration data din, then magka-chi-square ka pa rin. Okay? So, next, ano pa yung mga questions mo dyan? Alright. Okay, statement number 2. What is the, ano yung statement number 2 mo? Where is the statement number 2? Hindi ko makita. Alright, I think you just follow what I am suggesting now for, okay, for the next statements, no? Identify mo, you will identify what particular variable that is being studied, no? Okay, and what particular what type of data or what type of measurement, no, scale of measurement did you use in gathering the data, and you are going to align it to the different statistical tools that we have just studied, no? Okay, so ano pa? So sa health-seeking behavior, I think these are all quali data. All right, even the source of vaccine, it's all quali. How is narrative? All right, so this is already the, okay, the ano to, the result of this will be narrated lang pag sinabing how. Okay, in your statement number 4, this entails already inferential, no? And I do hope that since there is a question of is there significant difference on the knowledge, attitude, and practices of mothers, right, in the 2 barangays. So you have 2 barangays pa pala, no? Right. In this case, this actually requires you to select your respondents randomly. So as to the question of what particular probability sampling will you use. All right. So if in case you can have stratified sampling, especially if you are going to specify certain inclusion exclusion criterion in the targeting of your population, okay, of your some target sampling population. So in this case, you will now have to specify, okay, what particular sampling strategy will you use. So since it is hypothesized, therefore it is required that you're going to set a certain margin of error, and you can test statistics using now your chi-square. Now, test of association is also chi-square test of association, or you can have the Pearson chi-square association, which is actually used because it is non-parametric. Okay, so that's it, and congratulations, Group 1.
Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Were you able to get all the inputs?
Yes po, ma'am. Naka-live din po si Ma'am Ikay sa YouTube. So, doon pa namin
Okay.
i-replay ulit.
Yes, okay. So,
Thank you,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you, Ma'am Ikay.
Congratulations. All right.
Thank you, Ma'am Lars. Ma'am Lars, I have a question. Not really a question, but I think it's a good practice na pwede namin i-adapt for research. When I'm asked also of my objectives, my advisor asked me to convert the objectives to parang paano mo siya itetest for statistics?
Yes, actually there is in ano Ma'am Jinky, no, in designing a statistical research analysis tool, you should have also a matrix on that, no? So dapat may matrix din, naka-matrix yung objectives mo together with the variables, together with the relationship of the variables which are independent and which are dependent, so that you will really come up with an appropriate statistical data analysis tool.
Yes, ma'am. So, yeah, that's a good inclusion pala. Ma'am Lily, may tanong ka? Si Ma'am Lily.
Ako talaga.
Ikaw. Kasi nawala ako kanina eh. Ikaw nakarinig nun.
Hindi po, ma'am. I-clarify ko lang kasi it's a common practice yata na kapag may mga studies on COP, ang ginagamit nila to test knowledge, tama ba, Ma'am Ikay, is yung nabanggit kanina, strongly agree, agree, tapos ano pa ba yun? Neutral, ganun yata. Narinig ko kasi na dapat better na kapag sa knowledge is yes, no, I don't know. Diba, Ma'am Lars? Tapos
Yeah,
pagkatapos
okay.
nun, pagkatapos nun, 'di ba, parang itataling score nila. Tapos how will they interpret that is that ang tawag dito dapat kunwari kung nakuha niya is 5 out of 5, dapat meron din siyang skill na if 5 out of 5 ang nakuha niya, that is interpreted or analyzed as highly knowledgeable, parang ganon. Hindi po ba? Dapat po bang
Okay.
ganon? Or
Actually,
paano po?
Ma'am, yeah, thank you for that question, Ma'am Lil, no. Lately, I and Sir Julius together with Ma'am Joy, when we had our training on the enhanced BRM, no, basic research method, doon kami nagtagal, no, sa adjectival description in the use of Likert scale, because we abuse the use of Likert scale, and most of the time the descriptions that we are going to state, no, will be numbered, and the adjectival description is not proper. So for example, you talk about level of knowledge. Pag sinabi mo kasi level of knowledge, paano mo ma-measure yung knowledge niya kapag sinabi niya agree, disagree, or ano. So that actually is, matagal kami dyan eh. Nagtagal,
Opo.
nag-discuss si Ma'am Ophel, no, si Dr. Ophel ng epidemiology. Okay, si epidemiologist Dr. Ophel. 'Yon ang sinabi niya. So it all depends on how you frame also the statement in determining the knowledge. So when you say kasi yes, no, don't know, when the subject or the respondent answers yes, it means that they know, they are knowledgeable. When they say no, I am not aware of that. And I don't know, hindi ko alam, wala akong ka-idea. There's a difference between between no and don't know. I didn't, okay? So no, hindi ganyan yan. So vaccine is not given anytime, no. So meaning, the no there is also knowledgeable. They are knowledgeable at a certain point. Again and again, it is all redound on the way you're going to state your indicators of the level of knowledge. For example, lalo kap, ang daming issues, no? And we were all okay, and that's why we are warned on how we are going to use the adjectival descriptions. So after that, no, after our training, what I did is I read a lot of journals and materials that has something to do about Likert scale. And so really, right, if you try to look at the use of Likert scale is ordinal in nature, but there is no distinct gap between the order because it's Likert scale. But when you talk about interval, there is a distinct gap. In this case, when you talk about Likert scale, depende sa, o kaya nga kung minsan sinasabi, arulang amin yaton, pareho la yaton i-agree, disagree sa yes, no,
Yes.
no, don't know. But you see, if you add some more, like, okay, you're saying there is strongly agree, and you say agree, there is a distinction. Pero when they strongly agree, they are knowledgeable. When they say yes, they are also knowledgeable. But there is a distinction between strongly agree and agree only, and disagree and strongly disagree. But you're talking about level of knowledge. Are you getting my point, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Kasi
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
also a medical doctor who raised that question, because you see there is a common practice, but well, sabi nga natin, the common practice might not be a good practice, and so let us revive the right practice, mga ganon, and go and use the right practice. So that's the point. Yes, no, don't know is the suggestion when you talk about knowledge. Suggestion of, okay, of Dr. Ophel Mendoza
Yes,
of
ma'am.
UP Manila. Okay, so anyway, parati nating sinasabi, that's why this morning I ended by my talk with a quote, no? I did then what I knew how to do before. Okay. Now I know, now that I know better, I do better. That is the word or the quote of Maya Angelou. So well, lahat naman ng naririnig natin na agree, strongly agree, ganyan. Ang point is, meron bang pagkaiba? Statistically meron. Alright, so titignan natin, meron. Pero ano ba nga talaga? So the statisticians anyway will just run the data. At the end of the day, how do you analyze it, or how do you interpret it, and how will you use it matters. Okay, so pag sinabi kasi nating level of knowledge, medyo, okay, I read also another article, okay, another journal na nagsasabi on when you talk about level of knowledge, dapat you need to test them. Okay? I remember one psychology graduate who conducted a a research on level of knowledge talaga on the teaching teaching strategies natin na ginamit niya Google Drive. The real strategies are specified and you are going to test the knowledge. Hindi yes, no, don't, no. Because you talk about level of knowledge. Pero kapag ganyan ganyan nagagawa tayo ng questionnaire which is actually determining, like for example, what the questionnaire of these students are saying, right, vaccine is given anytime. So, syempre, kapag sa agree, disagree, strongly agree, well, nasa atin na yun, ma'am. Okay? So, there is no distinct demarcation of it. But it all is dependent. According to Ma'am Ophel, it is all dependent on how you're going to specify the indicators. Ano ba ang itetest ng indicators mo? Kasi pag sinabi mo talagang level of knowledge, talagang yung question about how knowledgeable they are. Kagaya nung ginawa nung psychology nung education, no, na tinetest tayo, na which actually I'm one of the respondent. It is in a Google Drive, Google question na mag-answer tayo. So that is actually an example of getting the level of knowledge. Kasi tinatanong niya talaga. And there is a multiple choice. There are answers there na ito talaga yung tinitest yung level of knowledge mo. And so it is not Likert scale. It is actually measuring the level of knowledge. Okay, so Ma'am Lil, did I answer your query?
Yes, kasi actually sa dami ng cap kasi natin, no, kung ano pa dapat
Correct.
ma-correct or ma-clear din po lalo yung mga students on how to go about assessing or knowing the level of knowledge kapag yun talaga yung gusto nilang i-assess doon sa study nila. 'Di ba, ma'am? Kaya
Yes,
yun nga po, importante din talaga na na-validate yung questionnaire kasi sabi nyo nga, doon din para maayos din yung yung response at saka talagang ma-assess yung para makuha nila yung talagang gusto nilang i-assess. Dapat na-validate din po yung questionnaire
yeah,
nila.
oo.
Yes.
Correct,
Thank you po, Ma'am
Yun,
Lars.
doon kami nagtagal doon sa training namin na 1 week yun pero online siya, pero it's all engaging because they will ask questions. Basta ang iba-ibang training talaga siya, no? So 1 week tapos magte-test pa kayo and then immediately bigla-bigla lang kayong tawagin, ganun. So
Opo.
toxic
Thank you,
talaga
Ma'am Lars.
yun. Tapos so that's it. Thank you also for raising that one, Ma'am Lily. And talaga naman, no, everything evolved and we learn we learn every day, no. There will always be improvement. Okay? So thank you, group 1.
Thank you, Group 1. Revita, we go to the next group.
Yes, so may we call now the group of Ralph Ramos. You may screen share now.
Good afternoon po, ma'am. Good afternoon to all. So our research title is Knowledge, Attitude, and Practices of Young Mothers in Northern Benito Salaven, Isabela towards on upper respiratory infection. So our general objective is generally this study aims to determine the knowledge, attitude, and practices of young mothers in Northern Benito Salaven, Isabela towards upper respiratory infection. Wait.
Nawala yung screen.
Yes po, hindi po pala kasi naka-full yung screen ko. Sorry po, mag-share screen na lang po ako ulit. So generally, this study aims to determine the knowledge, attitude, and practices of young mothers in Northern Benito Salaven Isabela towards upper respiratory infection. So our specifically the objectives are what is the profile of the young mothers in terms of the demographic, socioeconomic, clinical, and health-seeking behavior. Under demographic, we have the age, educational attainment, number of children, and places of residence. Under socioeconomic, we have the employment status, the monthly income, and the religion. Under clinical profile is the current disease, if any, comorbidities, smoking and alcohol use, allergies, and vaccination status. And lastly, for health-seeking behavior, we have the people to reach out for the health-related problem, institution, time and course, and source of information. For number two, specific objective, what is the level of knowledge of young mothers towards upper respiratory infection according to pathogenesis, signs and symptoms, treatment and management, and prevention and control? Third, what is the level of attitude of the young mothers on upper respiratory infections? Fourth, what are the practices of mothers towards upper respiratory infection? Fifth, is there a significant difference on the level of knowledge, attitude, and practices of young mothers when grouped according to profile variables? And lastly, is there an association between the level of knowledge of the young mothers towards respiratory infection with that of their attitude and practices? So it consists of the independent variable, which is the young mothers, specifically its profile variables, and the dependent variable, which are the knowledge, attitude, and practices towards upper respiratory infection. So with the researchers will imply cross-sectional design for our study. The researchers will imply study survey questionnaires for the respondents, and with the researcher will be the one who will utilize, or will be the one uh, who will be the one to administer the questionnaires to the researcher, to the respondents. And the number of variable included in the analysis is multivariate analysis, since we want to determine the knowledge, we want to determine if there's a significant difference on the level of knowledge, attitude, and practices of young mothers when grouped according to profile variable. The sample size will be utilizing some small samples, and for the data analysis tool for the specific objective number one, it will be frequency count and distribution percentage. For the objective number two, number three, and number four, it will be weighted mean and standard deviation. And lastly, for the inferential analysis, you will be using chi-square po. And moreover, the researchers used Likert scale for the scaling of the questionnaire, specifically 5-point Likert scale for the practice, 4-point Likert scale for the attitude, and again 5-point Likert scale for knowledge. That is compared to the first group who used the yes or no scaling po. Yun lang po, ma'am.
Okay, so all right, thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Ramos, no? All right, by the way, why cross-sectional design? Wala naman, hindi ko na yan pakialaman, pero bakit cross-sectional? But anyway, may I go back? So, to your objective number 2, ay, sana yung nagsabi ka na meron kang i-compute na mean and standard deviation?
Yes po, ma'am. Dito po sa knowledge, attitude, sa determining the knowledge, attitude, and practices po.
All right. So again, well, you made use of Likert scale. You are saying that you're going to use Likert scale pala. So proposal pa lang pala ito. All right. So you will use Likert scale. And since this is KAP, the thing here is you will compute the standard deviation and the mean of the Likert scale, the values of the Likert scale. If that is the case, then you will not use, okay, you will not be using chi-square, but you will be using ANOVA. Kasi kung ganun.
Yes po, ma'am. Initially po, we have propose to use analysis of variance as our data analysis tool for the inferential questions. But as per Sir Arman's advice to us yesterday po, we'll be utilizing chi-square daw po.
Chi-square is correct. Kaya lang, bakit kasi, alright, naglagay ka ng mean at saka variances or standard deviation doon sa analysis mo. So, if you will use chi-square, my dear students, no, if you are listening, so you can already learn better, right? This statistical tool, chi-square is actually test of dependency and contingency. No? So you can have chi-square with the use of association. You want to measure if there is, there is an association between the level of knowledge, attitude, and practices, but you made use of Likert scale, all right? Likert scale is ordinal. Bilang lang yon. Kaya doon natin napupunta. Okay, by the way, dito nagkakamali. So I see several students who are using or who are analyzing the results of their KAP using the mean, the overall mean. Now this is used, okay, if you use of overall mean and standard deviation, then you will use ANOVA. Okay? Kaya lang, dahil Likert scale ang ginamit mo, enumeration data yan. So that's why I'm saying, ilan ang knowledgeable, ilan ang hindi knowledgeable, ilan ang walang alam, hindi nila neutral. Hindi nila alam kung alam nila o hindi. So that's my point. Yes, no, I don't know. So in this case, okay, ilan ang nag-agree, kung highly agree, bilang lang siya. And therefore, it is a chi-square test. And here, you are not supposed to make a summary of or an overall mean. So, bakit kailangan natin i-correct yan? Because it will come up with a different result. Since if you will measure the overall mean, then you will now describe generally that they are all knowledgeable. But you see, you will use chi-square for your test statistics. In this case, you need to have only the number of respondents who said no, yes, no, don't know, or agree, or whatever is your adjectival description. Depending on the nature of the the indicator, the statement, that you will ask, no? So, alisin mo yung dyan, yung mean at saka yung standard deviation. Hello?
Yes po, ma'am.
So, anong gagamitin lang? Frequency count lang, percentages, frequency count. Okay? So that
Yes,
in the
ma'am.
chi-square, what you need to do there is you're going to compute the observed. So ano yung bilang ng nagsabi na knowledgeable sila? Anong bilang na nagsabi na hindi sila knowledgeable? Observed, okay? And then expected. So observed minus expected divided by the expected. So the square, the observed minus expected divided by the total expected. So in this case, it is all on frequency count and percentages only. All right?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, so is that clear? So very good. Wala naman na akong may suggest. Instead, yun na.
Ma'am, I will be flashing po the questionnaire po. So you can check it po dun sa scaling po namin.
Hindi na ako mag-check ng questionnaire, my dear, kasi chinek na ni
Yes,
Sir
ma'am.
Arman mo yan, no?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay.
So ma'am, dun po sa yung suggestion nyo po kasi sa first group kanina is to use the yes, no, I don't know sa knowledge
Alright.
po.
Okay, so there is no distinct suggestion. There is no distinct the adjectival description for Likert scale. It all depends on how you're going to state now your indicators. No, ano ba mini-measure mo? So you want to measure the level of knowledge. paano mo ba i-state yung tanong? So, ila-Likert scale mo nga. Sabi mo, the level of knowledge is measured through the Likert scale. So, you make use of the Likert scale and you'll say, highly agree, highly agree or strongly agree, agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. Kapag ka sinabi mo nag-disagree yung tao, ano yung level niyang knowledge niya? Ito yung tatanong ko, anong level ng knowledge niya kapag nag-disagree? Okay? So kapag nag-agree yung tao, ano level ng, pag nag-strongly agree, ibig sabihin mataas yung knowledge niya doon. So yun. Kaya nga yung Likert scale natin, alright, meron tayong, eto nga ngayon, pinapadevelop sa akin yung questionnaire ng customer satisfaction. So I will, of the whole university. So I have based it on what? On the civil service kasi kailangan kasi natin yan sa PBB. So ano yung ginamit ko? This is because of the idea of level of satisfaction. Talagang highly satisfied, ganun yun. No? Pero sa inyo, level of knowledge, particularly on a certain disease. All right, particularly on a certain disease. How do you test now their level of knowledge? Kapag ka nag-agree sila, mataas ba yung knowledge nila? Pag strongly agree sila, mataas ba yung knowledge nila? That is the question. I am not asking you to answer me, but you have to ponder on it so that you will identify the right adjectival description of your Likert scale. I'm not telling you, right, that I am going to advocate na yes, no, don't know. No. What I am asking you is, if you talk about level of knowledge about a certain disease, okay, your questions, your specific statements, the specific indicators on measuring their level of knowledge is actually stated by you, and these are self-made self-made questionnaire. And that's why even if you say you validate it, me as a statistician, I will now ask you, how do you now determine the level of knowledge of a certain individual if they check their strongly agree on a certain statement? If they will just check agree. So kung lahat sila nag-agree, anong level of knowledge nila? Agree? Alright. I am not asking you to answer me, but make sure, ganun din ang pagsabi sa amin ni Ma'am Ophel, our trainer, alright, dun sa enhanced basic research method, na you need to evaluate your adjectival description because it is all dependent on the specific statement that you have identified there. So please do not ask me, ma'am, sinabi kasi ni Ma'am Barsabal, no, do not drop my name. Ito yung sasabihin ko sa inyo, you ask yourself also. You ask yourself, if 10 of the respondents said that they strongly agree, will you say that they are more knowledgeable, they have higher level of knowledge to those respondents who said na they agree only? So can you measure the level of knowledge in terms of the adjectival description, highly disagree or strongly disagree, agree, right? And if they disagree, what is their level of knowledge then? They disagree. So that is what you need. Ganun ang pagsabi din ni Ma'am Ophel sa training namin. Okay, so I am just, all right, at least I am multiplying Ma'am Ophel's self. So in this case, you can seek the assistance of your advisor, okay, to identify based on your questionnaire, no?
Yes,
So
yes po, ma'am.
I don't prescribe a certain adjectival description for Likert scale, but we have to be very careful on how we're going to come up with adjectival descriptions, especially on CAP. Okay, so thank you. Ano pa? Wala na?
Wala naman na po, ma'am. Thank you po, ma'am.
I hope I have enlightened you there, no? So,
Yes, ma'am.
ang hirap na. Mas lalo nalito naman kami. Baka mamaya sabihin nyo yon, no? So, I hope I'm giving enlightenment because This is what I kept on telling you when you were under me in statistics. Right? What is my point? If you are asked to do something, do it the best way you can the first time. Di ba? So
Yes, ma'am.
can you remember that one, Mr. Ramos? Because you're one of my highest grades. Isa ka sa
Yes po,
highest, di
ma'am.
ba? Alright. So what is my rule of thumb? If you are asked to do, pakiulit mo nga.
If you are asked to do something, you do it best for the first time po.
Okay, so ayan, thank you. At least alam mo pa, pero pinaulit ko lang. Okay, thank you.
Yes po, ma'am.
So
Thank you
next,
po,
all
ma'am.
right. I'm happy that you are learning. So again, I hope you will not, all right, you will not misinterpret na I'm going to prescribe. No. Okay? I don't prescribe any adjectival description for Likert scale. It all depends on how you state your indicators, specific indicators. So yun. Pero hindi lang tayo maglalagay kung ano na lang yung nakita natin dyan, okay, yun din ang gagawin, ganun. So mag-tsunami of errors, no? Right. So thank you.
Thank you po,
Okay,
ma'am.
congratulations, group 2.
Thank you, Ma'am Lars. Nag-learn din kami as a faculty. Actually, that was our apply nila Ma'am Lily ever since. And nakakita na ako ng questionnaires na ang ginamit nilang adjectives is knowledgeable, not knowledgeable, parang ganon. Or I don't know. Dun sa skills nila. Ang napansin namin dun, Ma'am Lars, is it depends on dun sa question kung paano nila in-state yung question nila doon sa mismong questionnaire nila. Also.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
But for
Totoo
us,
yun.
under EDUC, kasi EDUC na ako ngayon eh. Under EDUC, ang ano namin, test of knowledge namin is talagang test siya.
Yeah, that's the point.
Multiple
And that's
choice
why,
siya. Yes.
totoo. Okay, and that is testing the level of knowledge.
Yes po.
Kapag
Yun
sinabi mo na
ay
level of knowledge.
talagang
Pero
test.
wag na lang din ilagay ng level of knowledge kapag hindi ka naman nagpatest. So what I mean now is, ang ilalagay mo lang knowledge, attitude, practices, no more word of level. It will change eh. It will totally change. Okay? So yun.
Thank you
Yeah.
po, Revita.
Okay.
Ready na si Ma'am sa next group.
Yes po. So, group of Claire Usaraga, you may now share your screen.
Dave, dun sa pinaka-umpisa. Good afternoon po everyone. Our title of our research po is entitled A Tracer Study Among the Graduates of Bachelor of Science in Respiratory Therapy of CSU Andrews from batch 2014 to batch 2021 po. So, ang objectives po namin is to determine yung employment rate po nung mga graduates and to assess po yung aspects of CSU education, and third po would be yung relationship po nung employment status po ng graduates into sa CSU education po. So ito pong nasa objectives, sila po yung mga nasa statement of the problem po namin, wherein we gather their profiles po, demographic profiles, educational backgrounds, ganun po. And for our variables po, we have independent and dependent variables. For dependent variables po, we have our demographic profile, the educational background of the graduates, and their employment status po. For our independent variables po, we have the percentile rank of each employment status po, wherein we would rank po from employment, wherein we will rank po their employment status and also rank the factors po that affects their employment seeking, and also to describe po the relationship between the employment status and profile variables and educational variables and the factors that affects the employability of the graduate po. So for our study design, we have quantitative po. for the number of variables included po sa analysis namin po, there would be two variables po wherein we have po the dependent and independent po. Tapos sa sample size po, hindi pa po namin ano po siya dyan. Tapos dun sa data analysis tool po na ano ma'am, nagagamitin po namin for our study, dalawa pa lang po yun, which is the chi-square po and the Likert po.
Okay, tapos na?
Yes po ma'am, yes po. Sorry po.
Ay. Okay, so please pass it back nga yung ano nyo.
Yan.
Okay, so yung first objective mo is right to determine the profile, okay? Profile variables. Now, may I ask, di ba, this is a tracer study muna, no? Okay.
Yeah.
If it's a tracer study, you're not supposed to sample it because you trace everyone eh.
Yes po ma'am. However po, yes ma'am. However po, ang sabi po kasi one of the recommendations po of Dr. Julius way back when we were having our proposal defense po was just to 50% of the number of graduates, since it's very impossible po to have at least all of them po. So binigyan po kami like at least 80% of the graduates po, wherein we target 304 graduates po. 308 graduates po rather, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but it is not randomized.
Yes po ma'am, yes po.
Okay, because you're going to trace. So your target is just at least 80%. So you can reach out at least 80%. But
Yes.
that is just target. So you can exceed, no? You can therefore gather the entire, and that is total enumeration as much as possible.
It would be also better din po if you were able to get them all po.
Yeah, okay. So that's the point. And therefore, since you will not randomize them, it is not proper that you're going to test though you will compute the association, you can compute pa rin using Pearson or using Spearman. You can analyze, but you will not hypothesize.
Yes ma'am, yes po.
So you can come up with questions like, okay, sige, maganda ito kasi, for us in Cagayan State University to get PBB, you should have a high rating for employability. And there is a target of the university for past 2 years that employability of graduates should be at least 60%, okay, for the past 2 years. In other words, those who graduated in 2018 or 2019, all right, they 60% should have been employed. Otherwise, we did not achieve our target. So that's the point. And your study is contributing also to determine the employability because not everyone is being reached out. The only thing is that, okay, I'm just worried if you have stated hypothesis there, despite that you will not randomize. So your sampling design, actually, your sample size is as much as possible, total enumeration, but it is targeted at 80%.
Yes ma'am, noted po. Thank you ma'am.
Yes, okay. So this time, you are going to have the profile, which requires you only, okay, bakit ka magka-chi-square? Okay, huwag kang magka-square.
Okay po ma'am. Ano pong
Kapag ano ba na yung tanong mo muna? So where is your question that will require you analysis of data? So you want to know the association, all right, of the profile variables to that of, okay, pero not all your profile variables, you have a profile variable such as
yes po ma'am.
date of birth, present, no, okay, so you are going to specify only, okay, association of age, sex, and then civil status, right, to that of the employability rating, pwede lang. And what is that? You are to the number of employed graduates. What is that? You will use now Spearman rank Spearman rank association, okay? Or you can use the Pearson kung ano yung ginather mo. So you talk about number, okay? Ito ang mga na-employ na babae, ito na employ na lalaki. Does sex influence the employability of our RTRPs? Okay, does age influence the pwede lang yan, tinuro ko sa inyo kung paano kumuha ng association, which is you can use the Pearson or you can use the Spearman. It all depends on the nature of the data that you gathered, no? But, okay, this is an employability study, therefore there is no hypothesis, no?
Yes po, ma'am.
Pero
We
this
did.
is a very meaningful study. Maganda ito, okay?
Thank you po, ma'am.
Especially that you added analysis part, okay? So ano yung ina-analyze natin? Yung association nung edad, nung year na nag-graduate, nung sex, nung civil status dun sa employability ng mga graduates, okay? And that, what is the statistical data analysis tool that you will use? You can use either Pearson or Spearman. It all depends on the nature of your data. So whether you make use of quali or quanti data. Okay? So yun,
Yes.
alisin ang liker, alisin ang chi-square. Alisin. Saan ka magla-liker? Ba't ka magla-liker?
Dun sa assessment, ma'am, Dave, dun nga sa sa 4, objective number 4, yung sa CSU education. Dun po kasi sa CS, yes, ma'am. Dito po sa
Okay.
number 4, ma'am, is we assess the we ask the graduates to assess the aspects of CSU po in terms of the academic curricular, wherein yung mga subjects po ito, ma'am. Meron po kami dong
Alright,
1
this
to
is
5.
nice. Okay. Alright, maganda ito, no? This is not just an ordinary tracer study. Maganda. Okay. So what are the difficulties experienced by the graduates? Are you referring to this?
Yes, ma'am. Dyan po sa part niyan, ma'am, we talk about po dyan sa underemployment part po siya nung research instrument namin, ma'am. Wherein meron pong ranking din po dyan, ma'am, na they would rank yung mga possible choices po na responses na nilagay po namin dun into those that apply to them po. Parang they would rank the difficulties they experience po when they were
This
finding.
is non-parametric. Okay. Non-parametric. Pero hindi ka mag-hypothesis. So, i-rank mo lang. Tapos,
ma'am.
i-analyze mo pa rin. Okay? You will just analyze the result using the analysis tools that are available. But you will not infer. There's no inferential tool that you will use, no? Okay, kasi hindi ka mag-sample.
Okay po, ma'am. Yes po. Noted.
Okay. Now, again, as to the question, maganda yung study nyo. As to the question whether what will be your adjectival description, so you have to give the right adjectival description. Because you're talking about, Likert scale. Pero, if your question is what are the difficulties, you will just specify that. And then others, no? You have to specify. They need not to tell na I strongly agree na ito yung difficulties ko, I disagree, ganun, hindi ganun eh. So
yes, ma'am. So, sa number 4 po, yung how does the graduate assess po, yun po yung may Likert namin, ma'am. Yung sa relevant, extremely relevant, ganun po yung parang choices. Dave, pakita mo kay ma'am yung research instrument natin, yung questionnaire.
Never mind. Chinek na yan, kaya hindi ako kukomment dyan. Alright, so in this case, that's correct, no? Alright, so tama. Sa number 4, you use how kasi, okay?
Yes.
How does the graduate assess? Okay, so therefore, magla-Likert scale ka dyan. And the results will just be analyzed. It will not be inferred, no? So you will not use inferential part. There's no chi-square needed.
Yes, ma'am. Noted.
Okay. Any other? Wala na? Ito na? Ito
Yes.
until number 4. So, very good yung research mo, no? You're contributing to the attainment of our PBB.
Thank you po, ma'am. Ma'am,
Okay.
dito po May tanong po kami, ma'am. Dave, dun nga sa number, sa last slide.
Ano yun?
Dito po, ma'am, sa number 6 po, about sa significant relationship po, what data analysis tool po could we use so that we could
Yeah.
get po the result po?
Okay, I told you, this is just enumeration data. Therefore, you will use now this is just actually is there significant relationship? So, ang tanong is, it's not significant. You will not test the extent of the relationship, but is there significant relationship? You will just measure the relationship. You analyze
Yes.
it using Pearson or Spearman.
Okay po, yung dalawang tool, either po
Oo.
dun. No?
So it's
Okay.
either Pearson or Spearman ang gagamitin mo dito, my dear. So that you will not anymore identify whether it is significant or not. All right? Is there relationship? Wala na yung word na significant. Is there relationship between? Para ang description mo mamaya is there is a high extent. Diba? Inano ko na natin yan. All right? Diniscuss ko sa inyo sa subject natin. So you will not you remove the word significant. Is there
Okay
a
po.
relationship between the employment status? Okay? Because this is analyzed. Hindi lang siya ma-infer. Alright, when you use the word significant kasi, that's the time that you're going to test the statistics, test of inferential. And so, okay, since you will not hypothesize your study, ma-measure mo pa rin yan, ma-analyze pa rin natin yung relationship niya. And so, we know that there is a perfect, okay, di ba sabi natin, there's a positive relationship and that there's a direct relationship. Okay? Di ba sabi natin, the correlation values ranges from 0 to 1, positive 0 to positive 1 or negative 1 to positive 1 rather. And if the correlation coefficient is exactly positive 1, that's a perfect direct relationship. If it is exactly negative 1, there is a perfect inverse relationship. So, well, you can still analyze. Walang problema. Yung mga iba, paano din, wala na akong hypothesis, wala nang silbi yung results ko. No, you have gathered all, that's the total enumeration. Mas matindi pa nga yan kasi total enumeration na yan eh. Alright, but you will not anymore infer. You still apply statistical tool that requires your data to be analyzed. Okay? So, paano ko din i-analyze kung wala akong hypothesis? Hindi. Kasi nga hypothesis is an educated guess that will what? That will be tested because you have randomized. Pero kung hindi ka lahat ng test statistics, may assumption. Kung hindi mo ma-meet yung randomization, hindi ka mag-hypothesis. Okay? So, thank you. Ulit-ulit ko yun kasi ang dami kong Alright, so anyway, congratulations. Maganda yung research mo.
Thank you po.
Deeper pa siya, deeper. Okay? So, kailangan yung result niya. So, if ever you can reach out up to the 100%, then better. Kasi with our social media now, pwede nyo ma-reach out lahat. Diba? Yan ang example ng total enumeration. Tapos, you can analyze using the analysis tool. Yan ang example ng total enumeration. Okay, so next, congratulations, group 3. Nakailang groups na tayo? Alright,
Yes
group
po,
4
ma'am.
na.
So, may we now proceed po for the PH group. You may share your screen na po.
PH na? PH?
Yes, ma'am.
PH na to, okay. So, congratulations.
Am I audible po?
Yes, my dear.
So our research entitled Develop Awareness of Red Cholo po, ma'am.
Okay.
Level of awareness on dengue among children in the core shelters of Tuguegarao City. So our objectives, what is the profile of the children? Sa first part. What is the profile of children in terms of demographic, socioeconomic, the children profile sources of information? Next, what is the level of awareness of children in terms of the causes of dengue, signs and symptoms of dengue, transmission of dengue, prevention of dengue? And lastly, is there any significant relationship in the level of awareness of children on dengue when grouped according into the profile respondents? The types of variable being used is independent variable and dependent variable. The study design is descriptive research design, and the number of variables including in the analysis is multivariate analysis. Next.
Hello,
Sa-
my dear, nawala ka. Okay.
Sample size, small po. Sampling design, stratified random sampling design. So sample size is computed using the Lynch formula and the level Lynch formula po. Data analysis tool, frequency counts and percentage distribution, weighted mean and Pearson correlation. Yun lang po.
Okay, so balik mo dyan sa objective mo. Ano ba yung formula na sinabi mo? Bago ko makalimutan.
Lynch formula po.
Anong Lynch formula yun? Cochrane's. Okay. Anyway, that's actually Cochrane's or Slovin's or what? I don't know. But anyway, let's go back to your objectives. All right. Your title pala is Level of Awareness.
Level of awareness on dengue among children in cold shelters of Tuguegarao City po.
Children ang respondents mo?
Yes, ma'am.
Anong edad ng children?
6 to 11 po, ma'am.
Okay. 6 to 11 minors. All right. So how will you float your questionnaire later? But anyway, hindi na yun ang ano ko. So let's have first the first question. What's the profile of the respondents na lang? Wag lagay kang children, no? In terms of demographic, socioeconomic. Okay. Now I'm interested with only the statistical data analysis tool kasi yun ang ano ko, I'm not going to touch on other things, no? So in this case, you will use percentage and frequency count. Hello, nawala naman na.
Cholo? Cholo? Kami ba ang nawala?
No, ma'am, clear naman po.
Clear naman?
Ma'am, sorry po. Ano po kasi yung signal ko ba?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, sige. So we have the level of awareness. So awareness siya, no?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And therefore you make use of Likert scale also?
Yung yes, no, tapos I don't know po yung ginamit po namin sa questionnaire po namin.
Bakit?
Kasi mga bata po sila, ma'am, is 6 to 11 po. Kaya yung level of awareness po yung...
So kapag ka sinabi mo yes, aware na sila. No, hindi sila aware. Don't know, neutral sila. Ganun ba yun? But anyway, level of awareness kasi ito, my dear. So again, may K80 tayo, may awareness, may tayo. So in this case, kailangan tignan pa rin. So you have to think twice or 3 times or 100 times, no? What is the proper adjectival description? At the end of the day naman, when you are going to float your question or when you're going to have your guided interview with these children, ito na tina-translate mo naman sa vernacular. The point here is nung sa narrative report mo na, that matters. So, kailangan titignan mo kung ano talaga yung adjectival description sa Likert scale. So, you will be using Likert scale. You are saying that yes, no, don't know, and that is it's a 3-point Likert.
Yes, ma'am.
Parang hindi ata tama. Okay? Na awareness yan. Tapos yes, no, don't know. Yes, I'm aware. No, I'm aware. Okay, neutral ako dyan. Ganun. Pwede lang naman. Kaya lang, titignan natin depende sa pagka-state ng specific questions that you will ask. No? So from the Likert scale, you will compute the weighted mean para makita mo yung level. Kasi sinabi mo kasi level eh. When you talk about level, yes.
Mostly kasi sa mga RRLs po is ganyan po yung mga questionnaires po. Yung aware, not aware, tapos I don't know po.
O yun. Hindi then yes, no, don't know.
Sige,
Aware, not
Yun po
aware, then I don't know. Okay. So from there, why do you use weighted mean? Kasi again and again, what do you think is that? There is an adjectival description, but it is just represented by a number. Therefore, weighted mean is not correct to compute. So this is just enumeration data, ilan ang aware, ilan ang hindi aware, at ilan ang hindi nila alam kung aware sila o hindi. So in this case, you are not, okay, and then please remove na lang yung level. Awareness of ganun.
Yes.
Kasi wala ka namang tinetest na level eh. So in this case, don't use weighted mean because these are just adjectival description and these numbers is not a product of measurement. It is just a sign. And what did I say last time in our hindi pala kayo nag-start sa akin. So, kailan nyo gagamitin ang weighted mean, kailan nyo gagamitin ang central tendency na mean kapag continuous yung data. In other words, the data that you gather is a product of measurement. Alright. Ito, inassign nyo lang eh. So, this is just descriptive, which definitely is it is represented by a numerical value, but then you need not to analyze it using weighted mean then. Okay? So that's it. Kaya frequency count lang pa rin yun, no? Frequency count and then you rank kung ilan, kung sakaling pwedeng i-rank din. Alright. Next, causes, signs and symptoms. Is there any significant relationship in the level of awareness? Okay. So, what will you write? So, sinabi mo Pearson, pero this is Spearman. Spearman ang gamitin mo dito sa relationship, pero you're going to have a test statistics. Now, since this is hypothesized, no? Kasi sinabi mo, is there any significant relationship po? You know, in the questions already, in the objectives, no, you can see whether it is hypothesized because of the framing of the objective. So because there is a question of, there is a word that is significant there, in this case, this is hypothesized, and what will you do ba? You are going to gather your respondents in a sampling, using a sampling design. Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Ano pala yung sample size mo? So you make use of Okay. Stratified sampling, and you make use of, how did you compute that? Ano yung P na ginamit mo dyan? Bakit proportion? Bakit ito yung formula mo sa, okay, sa pag-compute ng sample?
Lilian, ikaw yung
This is not the right formula, my dear, because you will use the Slovenes because you know the total population. Okay? Yung P dyan is proportion. Alright, you will, this formula that you have there is not the right formula. Instead, you will use already the Slovenes. Why Slovenes? Because you know the total population anyway. So in this case, you will remove that one. No? You know that Anafunan-ish call shelter has 61 children whose ages are, as mentioned by you, 6 and I don't know. And then Katagaman Pardo, we have 35 children there. And Namabalan, we have 44. You sampled it using stratified proportionate sampling. Okay? What will you use? Stratified, but it is proportionate. And since you have sampled anyway, you're going to select your respondents using probability sampling design, then you can use therefore, you can therefore test the significant relationship or significant association by the use of t-test. Okay, magte-test statistics ka, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Pero hindi mo gagamitin ang Pearson dahil this is utilizing now quali data, no? Quali yung ginagamit natin.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Noted po.
Sige. So that you will test the significant, you test whether the correlation is significant or the relationship is significant by test statistics t-test, or you can use the Spearman chi-square test. All right, so that's it. Okay, congratulations. At least na-check natin, no?
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you're welcome.
We
Okay,
have a class group, ma'am.
So, good afternoon po, ma'am. So, in our study naman po, what we're trying to identify is kung ano po yung effect ng online learning mode po sa students po ng CAS. So, our objectives are what are the profile of the respondents in terms of personal determinants, which is yung demographic profile po nila. Tapos, which is through age, sex, course and year and location po. Tapos yung type of variable being analyzed po in this sense is independent po siya. And yung study design naman po namin is a descriptive correlational research design. While yung number of variables included in the analysis is multivariate po siya since there are many variables po na included. And yung sample size po namin which we solved through Slovene's formula is 317 since alam naman po namin ang population po ng CAS. Yung extent to which usual requirement for the valid application parametric tests are satisfied, which is, I'm not sure po. Pero in this sense po, yung data analysis tool po niya is frequency and percentage distribution po. Ganon din po siya sa socioeconomic part po niya and sa educational profile po. Ganun pa rin po percentage and frequency distribution. Pero pati rin po sa internet access nila at sa behavioral determinants po nila. While yung sa respondents' perception towards effectiveness, which is yung second objective po namin, of distance learning through learning behavior, acquisition of knowledge, and study practices ang type naman ng variable na meron po siya is dependent type naman po siya. And yung data analysis tool po na gagamitin namin is weighted mean. Well, for the last two objectives po namin, which is there a significant difference in the perceived effectiveness of distance learning with their profile variables of the respondents? And lastly, is there a significant relationship between knowledge acquisition and learning behavior with that of study practice of the respondents? The data analysis tool that we will be using is an independent sample test in a one-way ANOVA, followed by a Pearson or product correlation po. So, yun lang po siya.
Okay, so din, all right. Kanina hindi ako nagpuna, no? So, by the way, when you talk about types of variables kasi, di ba we have studied in our biostatistics, no? The type of variable is actually based on how they are related to each other, dependent, independent. When you talk about type of variable, based on how they are measured, therefore it is quali-quanti. All right. When you talk about based on how it is being used in the research, well, you'll talk about the what is this, the conceptual definition. So in this case, I'm not asking you to determine the type whether it's dependent, all right, but instead based on how it is being measured. In this case, is it quali or quanti? What particular scale of measurement is being used? Para alam naman natin na there will always be dependent and there will always be independent variables in any research. So especially if, okay, this is a descriptive analytical research, no? So in this case, I am requiring you in the tabulation of your variables to identify what scale of measurement did you use, no? And what type of variable that is being measured. Kung quali siya or quanti, and what scale of measurement is used. That is what I mean, no? Okay, so let's go back to your, this is true, no? The comment that I gave is true for all those who have presented already. All right, now let's go back to your first question or first objective. You have here the profile. Okay, what's the profile? So what will be your analytical data analysis tool? You said, okay, correct. Frequency count, okay, frequency and percentage just lang, no? Tapos, kasi nga, question number 2. What is your question number 2? Socio-economic? Hello?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yeah, kindly flash it. So, tama yung pag-compute ng sample size because anyway, you know the population, don't break your head. You can use already the slogans, okay? The socioeconomic, so well, you will just use frequency again, frequency count, percentages, no? And then, ano pa?
Yung for
Number
our
3 question. Question number 3.
Ma'am, I think number 2 po. Yung perception
2.
of the respondents po toward the effectiveness of distance learning mode in terms of learning behavior, acquisition of knowledge, and study practices po.
So this is perception, no?
Yes po.
Perception of students on the learning effectiveness. All right, so still, how do you measure the perception? Likert scale.
Yes
Kaya
po,
pag
Likert
sinabi ko
scale
type
po,
of
ma'am.
variable, all right, type of variable, is it a continuous variable? Is it quali, quanti, no? And
Yes
then
po.
what scale of measurement is being utilized? So you are saying that perception will be measured by the use of
Weighted
Likert
mean po,
scale,
ma'am.
okay,
Yes po.
Likert scale, and you will analyze the perception on of these students by weighted mean.
Yes po.
Bakit weighted mean? They perceive it
Since what we're trying to identify is the effectivity of online learning mode or distance learning mode, we use weighted mean po in order to determine po yung answers nila sa questions po namin is whether they found the distance learning mode to be effective. So siya, yung skills po niya is either very highly effective, high effective, moderately effective, less effective, and not effective po. So, ang suggestion po sa amin last time is weighted mean po ang gamitin.
Okay. By the way, here, dito ako mag-agree ng weighted mean. Why? Because the respondents are the ones using the distance learning mode or the, what is this? The online learning mode, and what they perceive is based on their experiences. In this case, pwedeng mag-weighted mean dyan. Kasi parang mini-measure mo yung kanilang perception based on experience. And their perception is based on experience kasi sila mismo ang makapagsabi na effective or hindi effective or moderately effective. So again and again, be careful ka lang sa adjectival description. Pero dito mag-agree ako na you're going to use the mean, the weighted mean. No? Mag-agree ako dito. Why? Because the respondents here are the ones who experience the online learning. Dapat, ganun, ha?
Sige po, thank you po, ma'am.
Yes, okay, next.
For our last two objectives naman po is we want, the objectives are to identify if there is a significant difference between the perceived effectiveness of the distance learning mode when grouped according to their profile variables of the respondents. Tapos, if last naman po yung is there a significant relationship naman po between the knowledge acquisition and learning behavior with that of the study practices of the respondents po. So ang ginamit po is ang gagamitin po ng data analysis tool is independent sample test and one-way ANOVA. Tapos at the same time po, Pearson or product correlation po.
Okay, bakit nag-one-way ANOVA ka?
Ma'am, kasi i-determine po yung significant difference po ng perceived effectiveness nung distance learning mode kasi group siya according to their profile respondents po.
Alright, so take note, ha? Okay, so you make use of one-way ANOVA kapag you're testing the dependent variable at the same time your data are taken in a continuous manner. So dahil nag-weighted mean ka, pwede, no? Alright, pero ang tanong ko, bakit hindi two-way? So you are going to determine whether there is significant difference when grouped according to profile.
Yes po.
Bakit hindi ka nag-two-way?
I thought, what we thought po kasi is unnecessary po naman na yung na kailangan po rin i-correlate yung effect naman po nung perceived distance again sa profile respondents po.
But you are going to group it according to profile, so there should be an interaction between factors.
Yes po.
Influencing the variable.
Yes po, ma'am. I think yun po yung purpose po ng independent sample test.
Yeah, there is an independent sample test. Okay, so ngayon, nag-conduct na kayo ng independent sample test?
Yes po.
And what happened? Anong result? What I mean is, you can use the two-way ANOVA because you have to group it according to profile variables and you want to see if there is an interaction between these factors. Then you make use of two-way. But you want to see also the effect of the multiple level. So that in the event that there is a significant result, then you do post hoc.
Sige po.
Okay? So that's it, no? So tama na you will make use of ANOVA, but I suggest that it's not one way that you're going to have the two ways, so that so that you will see the interaction between the different factors that can influence the effectiveness of the learning. Kasi hindi lang naman, 'di ba ang dami mong nilagay na factors na profile variables?
Yes po.
So titignan natin kung ano ang nag-influence sa, kasi pag one way lang kasi iisa lang, hindi, you just test the equality of the okay, the variances of all the profile variables. But then, if you are using two-way, you will see the interaction between the factors that influence the effectiveness, that influence that these respondents are saying that it is effective. So, perception nila ito, pero sila naman ang, okay, ang nag-benefit dito or nakisali sa pagtuturo ng online, right? Therefore, pwede mong sabihin na yung Likert scale na ginamit is measured using weighted mean, no? So pwede. So I suggest that you're going to have a two-way ANOVA but instead of one-way ANOVA. All right. Tapos ano yung last mo? Is there significant relationship between knowledge acquisition and learning behavior? So anong ginamit mo? Relationship of the knowledge acquisition and learning behavior. So mag-Pearson product moment correlation ka, tama, significant relationship, and then test it using t-test. Okay. So test, if it is significant, test statistics mo dyan, t-test. Because you have Pearson product moment correlation, and then you're going to test the inference by the t-test. Okay. So tapos na ang role ko, saka text mo sa akin, saka message mo sa akin ko.
Sorry po. Sorry po.
Hindi, okay lang. So, ang dami, hindi lang naman ikaw. So, I want you, and I am happy na ginawa nga ni Ma'am Jinky ito kasi as much as possible, lahat ng nagtatanong sa akin, I will reach out. But the point here is hindi ganun kadali na lang. Mamaya, sinabi kasi ni Ma'am Lars, hindi naman pala ganun, no? So, ang point is, kailangan marami kang factors and consider. And this is a very good avenue. Maganda na, you have to be very thankful with your Ma'am Jinky kasi she initiated this training for you to be guided with your research journey. And I am pretty sure that you are now enlightened on what to do, no? So that's it. Congratulations, all those presenters. Kasi syempre, yung iba na ayaw mag-present, hindi na sila na benefitan, no? But I hope that you have taken screenshots of my discussion para at least mag-guide din kayo. Okay, so thank you very much. The last group, no?
Ma'am, meron pa pong last one.
Ay, meron pa?
Yes
Kala ko
po.
kayo ng last group. Okay, sige, alright. May pahabol pa. Sige, sino yon?
The group of Arian Barbosa.
Sige, okay. Si Romel ang mag-present. Hello? Sino magpe-present?
Arian.
Wala ako na rin.
Wala rin po ako, ma'am. Arian, are you there?
Baka naka-mute.
Si Lemor daw po yung magpe-present. Thank you po. Romel, walang marinig.
Sino magpe-present? Si?
Romel
Ayan, may
Balahibo.
share screen na siya. Wala kami naririnig.
Romel, we cannot hear you. Naka-unmute ka naman. Baka gumagamit ka ng microphone. Hindi siya naka-connect sa Zoom mo. Hello?
Hello po.
Yes, Romel, we can hear you na. Si Romel ba yun?
Yes po. Good afternoon po. Our title po is Prevalence and Associated Factors Among Mothers in San Jose, Bagao, Cagayan. Generally, this study aims to determine the prevalence and associated factors of vaccination hesitancy among mothers in Barangay San Jose, Bagao. Specifically, this study will attempt to answer the following questions. What is the profile of the mothers in San Jose, Bagao, Cagayan? Demographic profile, socioeconomic profile, clinical profile. Number two, what is the prevalence and associate of vaccination hesitancy among respondents in San Jose, Bagao? Number three, what are the factors associated with vaccination hesitancy as perceived by respondents in terms of behavioral, environmental, and social? Number four, is there a significant difference in the prevalence and associated factors of vaccination hesitancy when mothers are grouped according to their demographic, socioeconomic, and clinical profiles? Number five, is there an association between the prevalence of vaccination hesitancy among the respondents with that of associated factors that cause vaccination hesitancy? Type of variable being analyzed. The independent variables include the profile of mothers in San Jose, Bagao, prevalence of vaccination hesitancy, and associated factors of vaccination hesitancy. Dependent variable, vaccination hesitancy among mothers of Barangay San Jose. Our study design is a quantitative method will be employed in the study. A descriptive approach will be used to obtain an accurate profile of the respondents. Researchers will use this kind of research to obtain important information to draw rational conclusions on the factors that affect vaccination hesitancy. Survey questionnaire developed by the researchers will be the method to assess vaccination hesitancy in the community. Number of variables in the analysis, multivariate analysis. Sample size. A simple random sampling technique will be utilized by the researchers, whereas Slovin's formula to obtain the sample size and the prevalence of mothers in the vaccination hesitancy in the barangay. A sample size with a confidence level of 95% and a margin of error of 5% are utilized in the study. 302 respondents from San Jose were selected using a simple random sampling technique as the method to get the representative samples from a total of 1,230 households, where every member of the respondents is chosen randomly, then estimated the sample size to detect the prevalence of mothers in vaccination hesitancy in the barangay. Data analysis tool. A statistical procedure will be utilized to answer the objectives of the study. Data analysis will examine the surveys using SPSS tool to validate the collected data by frequency, percentage distribution. Appropriate descriptive statistics for demographic, socioeconomic profile, and clinical profile will be performed using this. Chi-square test and Spearman are used to analyze the Likert scale data further and whether there is an association between the prevalence and associated factors of vaccination hesitancy. In contrast, two-way ANOVA is used to analyze the difference in the associated factors of vaccination hesitancy when respondents are grouped according to their two profile variables. Tapos na po.
Okay, tapos naman na ata yung research mo, my dear. Anong group ito? This is RT pa rin or PH?
RT pa rin to, ma'am. Isa lang po yung
RT.
natin.
Okay. So So far, okay, okay naman ito. Doon sa factors, paano mo i-measure yung factors mo? Hello, my dear. Yung associated factors, will you be using also Likert scale
Yes po.
or
Using a
associated
Likert scale po.
factors? So we have the behavioral, and then you're going to specify particular indicators that will identify the behavioral factor.
Again, ma'am?
Paano mo i-measure yung associated factors? How do you gather? So you have specified there that you will identify. So in your variables, you have the associated factors, no? That
Yes
will
po.
influence the vaccine hesitancy. Now, paano mo i-measure yung behavioral factor, itong mga factors?
Using a 5-point Likert scale po. Tama ba?
5-point. And what is your adjectival description for that? Highly hesitant, ganon. What is your adjectival description for the behavioral? Associated factors kasi yan eh.
Agree, disagree po, ganun po.
Okay. Agree, disagree, 5-point.
Opo,
5-point
lima po.
Likert.
Yes po. Strongly
Even
agree, agree neutral, disagree, strongly disagree po.
But this is self-made test, or you're going to adapt a standardized?
Adapted po.
Adapted from a vaccine hesitancy studies, World Health Organization.
Vaccine hesitancy studies po.
Okay,
Project
conducted by World
Project.
Health Organization.
Yes po.
Hello?
Yes po, WHO po.
Okay. So you did not revise, or you just adopt the entire? Did you ask permission?
We revise it. Na-revise po.
Okay. So kung ni-revise ninyo, there are inclusion and there are exclusion of the original standardized question. Is that standardized?
Yes
Or
po.
just adapted? Okay. You still have to pilot test it, no?
Yes po.
So far, wala naman na akong dito. Okay naman siya. So, what sampling technique will you use?
Simple random.
Simple. Kasi San Jose, Baggao yun.
Yes po.
Okay. So, dapat din meron kang sampling frame. Alright. And each household will be randomized by getting only the mothers. Kasi mothers yung mothers yung target mo,
Yes
no?
po.
Okay? So, lahat naman ng minention mo dito, but please do not anymore specify that you will use a certain statistical software, but instead you will just identify the data analysis tool, no?
Okay.
And then,
Noted po.
so you will specify what statistical software that you will use later on. Okay. So, okay naman. Wala na akong comment dito. Mag-ANOVA ka. It's two-way. Okay? It's a two-way ANOVA. Alright. So, congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Natuto naman. Okay? Multivariate. Very good. Sige. Gawin lang ng mabuti yung pag-gather ng data kasi pinaka-importante yun, no?
Yes, noted. Yes po.
Okay. So, congratulations. Last na ba yun, Ma'am Jinky?
Yes, Ma'am Lars. Last na po yun.
Yeah, okay. Congratulations to those who have presented na, no? At least guided na kayo and you can go on na. So nakatulog na mahimbing. Hindi pa na ang message na kay Ma'am Jinky at kay anong statistical tool ang gagamitin. Okay, so thank you very much din, Ma'am Jinky. Tapos na tayo.
Thank you, Ma'am Lars. Revita?
Yes po. So thank you po, Ma'am Lars, and thank you po for all the advices you've given to us. Now, but
You're
first,
welcome.
allow me to award you this certificate po. So let me read its contents. So Cagayan State University Research Development and Extension to Gegros.
Can you ask Romel to unshare his screen? See, we cannot see the certificate. Yes, that's it. Okay, go ahead.
Na po, ma'am? Nakikita na po?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yan. Sige po. So, Cagayan State University Research and Development Extension to Giga City of Cagayan awards this certificate of appreciation to Professor Hilaria M. Barsabal in grateful acknowledgement of her invaluable time and expertise as a resource speaker during the conduct of training workshop on the journey of health research survey data to analysis via Zoom meeting on August 12 and 13 of 2021, given this 13th day of August in the year of 2021. Signed by Dorina D. Sabatin, RMT, MPH, and CBO, College Dean, Engineer Teresa B. Dimelanta, PhD, the CEO of CSU Andrews Campus, and Julius T. Capili, RMT, MPH, PhD, the University Director for Research.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, well, thank you, ma'am. So now that we've reached the end of this program, may we now call on Professor Maria Nancy T. Martinez for her closing remarks.
Ang ganda naman. I can see 99.
Hi, Ma'am Nancy.
Good afternoon, Ma'am Lars.
Yes,
Oo.
Ma'am Nance, I miss you.
I miss you too. We have only 100. I thought it's PH, MLS, and BSRT, Ma'am G.
Yes, ma'am, pero PH one group lang atang andito. And
One
then
group?
MLS is kasalukuyan po atang defense nila. Kaya yung isang
Pero hindi naman siguro sila lahat nag-defend at the same time, di ba? So once again, no, magandang hapon. Good afternoon to one and all. I hope that it was a fruitful 2-day training workshop on the journey of health research survey data to analysis, in which it has come to an end. And on behalf of the organizers, I would like to give a few concluding words of this seminar workshop. First and foremost, I would like to convey my heartfelt appreciation, of course, to the ever beautiful, no, dedicated Ma'am Jinky Tulyao Chua, as well as all the other speakers, Sir Professor Arman Arquilada, and of course, Professor Hilaria Barsabal. Their presence has been invaluable and without any doubt has helped make the event a great success. We greatly appreciate the support we have received from the members of the organizers in covering our activities, and it is also very important, no, that the views expressed here are disseminated to a wider readership and audience. And clearly, this task has been in a very capable hands. We are also very grateful to all those who have been involved in attending this event, no, while they are too numerous to name individually. I just want to thank all, first, the CAS students, which are composed of the BSRT students, MPH, BSPH, and MLS. And of course, the professors and instructors from the College of Allied Health Sciences, Professor Ma'am Jinky, the college research coordinator, as well as those selected fourth-year BSRT students who spend time and effort to see this seminar through. And in attending also this seminar, as we have heard over the last 2 days, the motive of data analysis and research is to offer accurate and trustworthy data, avoid statistical inaccuracies as much as possible, and discover a strategy to cope with common problems such as outliers, missing data, data changing. Data analysis is the process of reducing complex research material to its most basic and simpler form. This is one of the most integral parts of the research paper, as well as the most difficult phase, because most researchers may not be able to do the analysis on their own, di ba? So, as the result of the tremendous assistance provided by this training session, students with research subjects or those involved in research will acquire the knowledge and understanding required to be comprehended in conducting data analysis. It will be of tremendous assistance to everyone because there will be no need to pay a statistician to analyze the data because they can do it themselves already. Finally, to my dear students, this planned event had been proactive in dealing with significant undertakings in the field of research that have expanded over the years and aided in the growth of all sectors of society. It has been an excellent platform. Our thoughts have been assailed with torrent of ideas, information, statistics, interpretations, and visions, and it will most likely take us a day or two to go through them all and solidify in our own distinctive pace. There is truly a plenty to ponder and sink in. For this, in any way, it enhances our individual and collective contributions to meet the global research challenges, which the seminar can truly be adjudged a success. I hope the takeaways and learnings from this training workshop will further enrich the research students' thinking and that they will be able to apply everything by heart in their forthcoming endeavor. Again, maraming salamat sa inyong lahat and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Nancy. Very, very inspiring naman yung message mo, Ma'am.
Yes. Dalawang araw ko itong ginawa, Ma'am Lars eh.
Tama yung sinabi mo na they will not just learn this, but they have to use it. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Nasaan ka, ma'am?
Bahay.
Nasa office?
No,
Ay,
bahay, ma'am. May delta kasi sa
bakit
office
gapo may background ka na ano?
Siyempre, parang pang ano lang yan, pang emergency.
Okay, sige, ma'am. Congratulations pala, Ma'am Nancy. May apo ka na.
Oo, busy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations, Ma'am Jinky, Ma'am Ann, IP.
Talaga sinabi pa dito, ha?
Revita?
So,
Picture taking na with Ma'am Nancy din.
Yeah.
Picture taking with Ma'am Nancy.
Yes po.
so we request everyone to open their cameras po. So we'll be having our picture taking ba.
1, 2, 3. May nakipicture na, Revita.
Larissa.
Smile.
Sorry, ayaw yung camera ko. Terrible.
Sige, wait
Ganyan
lang.
din ako kaninang umaga kasi laptop. Pag laptop oo.
Thank you, Miss Jinky, and all the facilitators and our resource speaker. Thank you. Good afternoon, and congratulations to all the participants.
Thank you for attending po. po. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Jinky. Thank you, Ma'am Ann. Ma'am, of
Thanks.
course, Ma'am Nancy. Grabe, ang gagaling ng mga anak Jonakits mo.
Yeah.
Ang ganda ng research nila.
They're very good. Galing.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hi, everyone. Ingat kayo.
Revita.
Tayo lahat, ma'am. Sige,
Bye-bye.
Ingat.
Maraming salamat
Bye-bye.
sa lahat.
Okay po. You mean
Your link and your next series.
Yes po. So, the next series of this event, the second series of this event will be on September, and a link for the evaluation of this event will be sent later. So please answer those for the certificates. Bye-bye po.
Revita, can you send it sa chat box so they can already fill
Yes
out?
po. Yes po.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for participating.